What if the sacred is not hidden? What if the divine is not far away? What if the infinite is not waiting at the end of a spiritual journey, but is present in this breath, in this sound, in this body, in this moment? We often imagine the sacred as something rare, something distant, something we must earn, something we must find after years of discipline, meditation, prayer, purification, or awakening. But the great insight of the Vedic tradition is radically simple. The sacred is not difficult to find. It is impossible to avoid, because the infinite is present in every finite experience. We usually divide life into sacred and the ordinary. A temple is sacred, a mountain is sacred, a mantra is sacred, but washing the dishes is ordinary, walking down the street is ordinary, looking at your phone is ordinary, feeling tired is ordinary, having a conversation is ordinary. But what if this division is itself the illusion? What if there's no such thing as an ordinary moment? What if every finite experience is a doorway into the infinite? The Vedic sages tell us that reality is not divided into two, one part spiritual and one part material, one part sacred and one part mundane or profane, one part divine and one part worldly. Reality is one. Ekam eva advityam. One without a second. This means that nothing is outside the infinite. Nothing is excluded from Brahman. Nothing is separate from the field of consciousness in which all things appear. A rock is finite. A tree is finite. A body is finite. A thought is finite. A breath is finite. A moment is finite. But the existence of each finite thing is not finite. The being of the rock, the being of the tree, the being of the body, the being of the breath, the being of the galaxy, and the being of this moment is the same being. That being is Brahman, pure existence, pure awareness, pure presence. The infinite does not appear only beyond the world. The infinite appears as the world. Not because the world as name and form is ultimate, but because every name and form borrows its reality from the same underlying presence. A wave is finite. It has a beginning. It has a shape. It has a movement. It rises and falls. But the water of the wave is not separate from the ocean. In the same way, every experience is a wave. A sensation is a wave. A perception is a wave. An emotion is a wave. A thought is a wave. A lifetime is a wave. Remember what the Buddha said. This lifetime of ours is transient as autumn clouds. To watch the birth and death of beings is like looking at the movements of a dance. A lifetime is like a flash of lightning in the sky, rushing by like a torrent down a steep mountain. That's the finite. But the essence of that is infinite. That is why the sacred is not difficult to find. It is impossible to avoid. Where would you go that being is not? What would you touch that is outside of existence? What could arise outside of consciousness? What thought could appear outside the field that knows it? Even the thought, I cannot find the sacred, is appearing in the sacred. Even the feeling, I'm separate from God, is appearing in God. Even the search for the divine is already happening within the divine. That is the paradox. The seeker searches for what is never absent. The mind searches for consciousness. The person searches for the self, but the self is not elsewhere. The self is the light by which the search is known. In another way, we can see that the universe we know is always a humanly disclosed universe. We do not know reality apart from perception, sensation, thought, language, nervous system, culture, memory, and consciousness. We see a human world, we touch a human world, we measure a human world, we describe a human world. Even when we speak of the universe of a bee or a dolphin or a bird or a microbe, we're still speaking from the human standpoint. So, my friends, God is not difficult to find. God is impossible to avoid. The infinite, incomprehensible, inscrutable arises and appears as the comprehensible, finite, mysterious, sacred, profane universe. So that infinite is present in the knowing of sorrow. It is present in a child laughing. It is present in a cup of tea. It's present in a bird crossing the sky. It's present as the feeling of breath entering the body. It is present as the ache of longing, the warmth of a hand, the silence between two thoughts, the grief that breaks the heart open, the joy that cannot be contained. All of that is finite. All of it changes. All of it passes. Yet, in every passing experience, the infinite, changeless, formless is present. Not as an object, not as a thing, not as a belief, as the very being and the knowing of the moment. This is the real meaning of Tattvamasi. Not that you will become that. Not that you may find that someday. Not that is far away. Thou art that, the divine self, already. Before the search, during the search, after the search dissolves. So, rest in that knowing. That is spiritual awakening. It's not even a seeking, it is a recognition. The spiritual path often begins as seeking. We seek peace, we seek meaning, we seek healing, we seek awakening, we seek God. The seeking is natural, it is beautiful, it is part of the unfolding, but eventually the path matures from seeking into recognition. We stop asking, where is the divine? And we begin to ask, what is not the divine? We stop asking, when will I arrive? And we begin seeing, I have never been outside reality. We stop asking, how do I become spiritual? And we begin noticing the one who asked this question is already appearing in spirit. This does not mean practice is unnecessary. Meditation, mantra, self-inquiry, devotion, compassion, service, ethical living, all refine perception. They polish the mirror. They quiet the noise. They make the obvious obvious. But practice does not manufacture the infinite. Practice reveals what was never absent. The sun does not need to be created. The clouds only need to part. The self does not need to be produced. The misidentification only needs to soften. So pause now, not later, not after the mind becomes silent, not after life becomes perfect. Pause here. This breath is finite, but the awareness of this breath is open. This sound is finite, but the silence in which it appears is vast. This body is finite, But the existence shining through the body is not separate from the existence shining through the stars. This moment is finite, but the presence of this moment opens into the timeless. The sacred is not somewhere else. It is this. Not the concept of this, not the word this, the immediacy of experience before the mind divides it. Before thought says sacred or ordinary, before thought says spiritual or material, before thought says me and the world, there is just the luminous appearing, the field of knowing, this presence, this being, and you are not outside it. You are not looking at it from a distance. You are it, appearing as the one who looks. So take a slow breath, let the body soften. Notice one simple sensation, the feeling of the breath, the weight of the body, the sound in the room, the light touching your eyes. Do not try to make the moment spiritual. Do not try to create a sacred experience. Simply notice that experience is already present. Now notice that experience is known, a sensation is known, a sound is known, the body is known, the room is known, the moment is known. Rest for a moment as that knowing. Not the thinker, not the seeker, not the one trying to become spiritual. Just the awareness in which this moment appears. Now see if you can sense this. The finite experience is changing, but the awareness in which it appears is open, silent, present. The breath comes and goes, awareness remains. The sound comes and goes, awareness remains. The thought comes and goes, awareness remains. This awareness is not separate from the sacred. It is the doorway to the sacred. And in the deepest understanding, it is the sacred itself. The infinite is not far from the finite. The infinite is the reality of the finite. The divine is not hidden from experience. The divine is shining as the being of experience. The divine is not difficult to find. It is impossible to avoid, because wherever you go, there is being. Whatever you perceive, there is awareness. Whatever you experience, there is consciousness. And the one who is searching for the sacred is already made of the sacred. You do not have to reach the infinite. You have only to recognize that every finite moment is already overflowing with it. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma Tattvamasi Aham Brahmasmi Satchitananda.